Drake stood in front of the cameras wearing his trademark smirk, the kind that suggests he has insider knowledge. What he said next left everyone stunned. This wasn't just another brag about lavish cars or jewelry. It revealed a more profound aspect of the rap industry that many people are unaware of. He began discussing a Bentley, but not just any Bentley. This was the same luxury car that Quavo had once given to his then-girlfriend Saweetie during their highly publicized relationship. Welcome to the Celebrity Rap Den showroom, where the world of rap and celebrity gossip is always buzzing. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the drama. Let's dive in. Now, if you've been paying attention to hip-hop drama over the past few years, you know that Quavo and Saweetie were once the couple everyone was watching. They had that picture-perfect relationship that people love to see on Instagram. All smiles and luxury and public displays of affection that made fans believe in love again. Quavo wasn't playing around when it came to showing his feelings either. The Migos rapper went all out and bought Saweetie a Bentley, posting about it, making sure everyone knew he was treating his woman right. That car became a symbol of their relationship, a physical representation of how serious things were between them. As anyone who has been in a relationship knows, things don't always go as planned. Quavo and Saweetie's relationship eventually ended, and it wasn't a quiet split. The breakup became quite messy, with both parties exchanging insults and the internet scrutinizing every detail. Once the love faded and things began to calm down, Saweetie made a choice that many could relate to. She decided to sell her Bentley. After all, why would she want to keep driving a car that reminded her of someone who is no longer in her life? That luxury vehicle, which once symbolized love and commitment, now felt like a painful reminder of the past. This is where Drake enters the story, and trust me, this is where things get really interesting. Drake somehow caught wind that Saweetie was selling the Bentley. Maybe he saw it listed somewhere, maybe someone told him about it, or maybe he just has people who keep him informed about everything happening in the industry. Whatever the case, Drake didn't just scroll past that information like most people would. He saw an opportunity to do something that nobody would expect, something that would show the kind of loyalty and brotherhood that exists behind the scenes in hip-hop, away from all the beefs and competition that the media loves to focus on. Drake went ahead and bought the Bentley. Just like that, he dropped the cash and became the new owner of the vehicle that Quavo had originally purchased for Saweetie. Now at this point, you might be thinking Drake just wanted another luxury car to add to his collection. The man's got enough money to buy 100 Bentleys if he wanted to. His garage probably looks like a high-end dealership already. But that wasn't what this was about at all. Drake had no intention of keeping that car for himself. What he did next is what really sets this whole story apart from just another celebrity buying an expensive vehicle. Drake turned around and gave the Bentley back to Quavo. Let that sink in for a moment. He bought the car that Quavo had originally gifted to his ex-girlfriend, and then he gifted it right back to Quavo himself. This wasn't about showing off wealth or making a statement to the public. This was about recognizing what that car meant, about understanding the emotional weight attached to it, and about making sure his friend didn't have to see something he purchased with love end up in some stranger's hands or sitting in some random person's driveway. Think about what that gesture really means. In a world where rappers are constantly beefing with each other over the smallest things, where competition can turn friendships sour in a heartbeat, Drake chose to spend his own money to preserve something meaningful for another artist. He didn't have to do that. Nobody would have blamed him if he just ignored the whole situation. But Drake saw beyond the surface level. He understood that watching something you bought for someone you cared about get sold off and disappear into the world can sting in a way that goes deeper than most people realize. Quavo must have felt a rush of emotions when Drake presented him with the Bentley. Here was this car that represented a chapter of his life that had closed, a relationship that didn't work out, memories both good and bad all wrapped up in metal and leather and luxury features. Having it come back to him through Drake's gesture probably hit different than anything else could have. It wasn't just about getting a car back. It was about having someone in the industry recognize what you went through, acknowledge the personal loss, and take action to make things right in whatever small way they could. The streets started talking as soon as this story got out. People were shocked because this kind of move is rare in any industry, but especially in hip-hop where everyone's watching everyone else and looking for any sign of weakness or opportunity to get ahead. Drake didn't gain anything material from this transaction. If anything, he spent a significant amount of money just to do something kind for another artist. That's the kind of real recognize real moment that doesn't happen every day. It showed that beneath all the fame and fortune and chart-topping hits, there's still room for genuine friendship and looking out for your people. What makes this even more powerful is understanding the context of relationships in the public eye. When you're famous and dating someone famous, everything becomes content for the world to consume. Your gifts get photographed, your trips get documented, your fights potentially get leaked. Quavo and Saweetie lived their relationship in front of millions of people, and when it ended, they had to deal with that heartbreak while the whole world watched and commented. That Bentley wasn't just a car to Quavo. It was a very public symbol of a very public relationship that everyone knew about. Drake's decision to intervene in this situation reveals something about his character that often gets overlooked when people talk about him. Yes, he's one of the biggest artists in the world. Yes, he's accumulated massive wealth and success. But this move showed he hasn't forgotten what it means to be human, to understand loss, to respect another person's feelings even when it costs you something. In the entertainment industry, where people often step on each other to climb higher, Drake stepped up to help someone deal with a personal situation that had nothing to do with music or competition or business. The way Drake tells this story himself is what really drives home the impact. There's no bragging in his voice, no attempt to make himself look like a hero. He talks about it matter-of-factly, like it was just the obvious thing to do when he saw the situation. That humility in how he describes his actions makes the gesture even more meaningful. It wasn't about getting credit or publicity. It was about doing right by someone he considers a friend, someone he respects in the game, someone who was going through something difficult even if that difficulty wasn't as visible as the relationship had been. Quavo getting that Bentley back probably meant he could choose what to do with it on his own terms. Maybe he kept it, maybe he sold it later, maybe he gave it away. But the point is that choice was his to make, not forced by circumstances or the aftermath of a breakup. Drake's gesture gave him back control over a piece of his own story, and that's worth more than the price tag on any luxury vehicle. It's about dignity and respect between artists who understand what it's like to live under constant scrutiny. This whole situation also says something about how Saweetie might have felt during all of this. Selling that Bentley was probably her way of closing a chapter and moving forward with her life. She didn't need the constant reminder every time she saw the car sitting in her garage. But the way things played out, with Drake buying it and returning it to Quavo, created a resolution that probably felt right to everyone involved. There's something poetic about the car ending up back with the person who originally bought it with love and intention, even if the relationship it symbolized didn't last. The hip-hop community watches these kinds of moments closely because they reveal the real relationships and dynamics that exist beyond the music. Fans get to see that these artists aren't just competitors fighting for chart positions and streaming numbers. They're human beings who form genuine connections, who look out for each other when it matters, who understand that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is show up for someone in an unexpected way. Drake buying that Bentley for Quavo will be remembered not because it was expensive, but because it was thoughtful. Stories like this remind us that wealth isn't just about accumulating things for yourself. Real wealth shows itself in how you use your resources to impact others, to ease someone else's burden, to make a situation better when you have the power to do so. Drake had the financial means to make this gesture, and he chose to use those means in a way that honored friendship and understanding. That's the kind of wealth that actually matters, the kind that leaves a lasting impression not because of dollar signs, but because of heart. In a culture that often celebrates excess and self-promotion, Drake's move with the Bentley stands out as something different. It wasn't flashy for the sake of being flashy. It was intentional and personal and real. Quavo probably won't forget what Drake did, and neither will anyone else who heard this story. It sets an example for how people with resources can choose to use them, not just for personal gain, but to show solidarity and support for others navigating difficult moments. The streets respect this kind of energy because it goes beyond words. Anyone can talk about loyalty and brotherhood and keeping it real. But actually putting money where your mouth is, actually taking action that costs you something to benefit someone else, that's when people pay attention. Drake proved that his relationships in the industry mean something beyond business deals and collaborations. He proved that when someone he knows is dealing with the fallout of a public situation, he's willing to step in and do something about it. This Bentley story will probably be told for years to come as an example of unexpected kindness in an industry not always known for it. It shows that even in hip-hop where competition runs deep and egos can clash, there's still space for genuine care and consideration. Drake didn't have to insert himself into Quavo's personal business. He chose to because he saw an opportunity to do something meaningful, and he followed through on it without hesitation. At the end of the day, that's what makes this story so compelling. It's not about the car itself or the price tag or even the celebrity names attached to it. It's about recognizing that sometimes the most powerful moves happen quietly, behind the scenes, when someone decides to prioritize another person's well-being over everything else. Drake buying Saweetie's Bentley and giving it back to Quavo will be remembered as one of those rare moments when the industry showed its human side, when wealth was used for something deeper than just another flex, and when friendship proved itself through action rather than just words. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.